recognized by the United Nations as a search and rescue team. We were trained by the army, Israeli army, for search and rescue, and therefore we've been called in for numerous incidents. If it's a terror attack, if it's natural disaster, and I'll give you a list. 80, I was there. Brazil, 9/11 attack. I'm a survivor of the 9/11 in New York. I was 7 hours under the rubbles, and I'm a survivor. Mumbai, 15 and a half years ago, I was there when 207 were killed by a terror attack. And just now, exactly now, we're talking now, this is the day, a year ago, that I came back from Turkey, the earthquake in Turkey. Me, my team, 19 people, we saved 19 Muslims, and now those Muslims are against us. I don't know the reason. And when they came, and then we were in Surfside, when the building collapsed, I was the first responder over there, arrived on Saturday, and more and more. So we know about bodies, we know about everything, we know the disasters. Now October 7th, as I said before, I'm a father of 10 and a grandfather of 22. And I had in my house 14 of my grandchildren. It was Simchat Torah. It's a happy holiday that all the children, God bless you, when all the children, they're waiting for this Simchat Torah to be picked up on the shoulders and getting the candies and like this, and we went on as a happy family, as a happy every other family that wants to raise the children. 6:30 in the morning, we get the sirens, we all get up from bed. They know where to run, they know the shelter room in my house, so they run into the shelter. I know where the shelter room is, but never used it for myself, because my job is to go down and just see if there is. And thank God that we have the Iron Dome, because till we had the Iron Dome, every missile was a hit and was casualties. Now we have the Iron Dome, so sometimes it misses and sometimes, but we're used to it. 6, 7 missiles coming in and the Iron Dome, and we wait, we see, and we go back to sleep. But now, while I was running down, they went into the shelter room, and you saw the Iron Dome is right in back of my house, and you see 25, 30 missiles going on, and it's still dark. It's not, the sun is not shining at 6:30 in the morning, but it was lighted like it was the middle of the day because of the missiles hitting the missiles. It was very, very frightening, but then I listened to and I saw the 2 missiles hitting Ashdod. I went out over there and checked out the situation. There was no injuries, there was no casualties, it was an open space. I came back home. In the middle of my radios and my phone is going on from the officials, from the army officials in the south, and police officials, commanders that I work with them on a daily basis, and they tell me, Yossi, listen, this is only a cover-up for a big invasion in the south of Israel. As of now, we have no idea what's going on. It's chaos, and we're fighting with terrorists. Just be on alert. We'll let you know. So I went back home, and we started preparing ourselves to go to shul. And we go 8 o'clock. We get into shul. By 9:15, I receive a phone call from the police commissioner in the south, Amir Cohen. That's his name. He called me, Yossi, just get into your car right now. You're coming to the south, to Sderot, and but get your most ammunition that you have, magazines, long gun, because we're fighting, there's constantly fighting with terrorists, and just go through the warehouse and fill up your car with the most body bags you can. It's an order. I didn't ask any questions. I just phoned a couple of my volunteers to see if I can get them. Nobody was available because until 6:30 in the morning, October 7th, there was ceasefire, there was no warnings, there was nobody told us anything that we have to be in alert. So everybody left. The radios, the phones, they didn't take it with them, as if it would be some circumstances that you need it, then we will have it, because we're first responders. But now nobody had it, so I couldn't reach anybody. Only two of those volunteers that were sleeping, I got them up, told them just wait for me, I'll be there in a couple of minutes. I met one of my neighbors. I asked him to notify my wife. I couldn't see my wife because she was in another place, just to continue with the meals and everything with the family. I don't know when I'm gonna come back. I went, filled up my car with equipment, and driving down route number 4 that's going out from Ashdod to Sderot, coming to kibutz Yad Mordechai Zikim. Zikim is on the shore of the water. It's a kibutz. It's not the first time where they're trying to invade from coming in from the Hamas special divers unit. They come in over there, fighters. But now they came in like over 100 of them and to invade, and they invaded Zikim. And they came to the road to go to Ashkelon, to Ashdod, to invade those cities. They had all the plans. They had ammunition, they had bombs, they had everything to fight for a month. And while I hit the roadblock, the special force, the Yamam, was fighting over there, special police force, they were fighting over there. And army officials, the IDF soldiers, they were fighting over there. And they told me, for sure you cannot go through, it's a roadblock. I identified myself and they told me no problem, you can go, but it's in your own responsibility, because you should know there is a lot of terrorists going around, we're fighting. So I went through that roadblock and I had to maneuver my car with bodies that was all over the road. If it's civilians, terrorists, police, our fighters, they were all around over there. And 9 of our heroes were killed over there on that spot while fighting. And I'm talking to you right now. I would say it's a miracle, because the number of bullets that was over my head coming from those terrorists, I shouldn't be over here right now. I should be killed, but you know, we're partners, so I'm here to talk to my partners. That's the only reason. And driving down to Sderot, it took me 17 minutes to arrive to the entrance of Sderot. He meets me over there, Amir Cohen, the commissioner, and he tells me, Yossi, there's no orders, no special orders, just do whatever you have to do, whatever you know to do. I went and not as a Jew, but not as a Jew, as a human, as a person, as a human being. You do the first thing you do. You try to save lives. You try to help people. That's the first thing you have to do. So I'm a paramedic. My 2 volunteers are EMTs. We start to go, and we see all over. It's a city. It's a normal city, Sderot, where a lot of everybody have families, you have children, and you see the road, cars are full with people lying, they're shot, and cars are burning, whatever you could do. So you start to go from one person to another, and people are screaming and asking for help. And you're talking about 3 hours after they were shot already, and they were bleeding, and coming and arriving and getting them and just doing them first aid, loading up into my car, heading them over to the field hospital that they opened up in the entrance of the road, drop them, going back and forth, and this is the way we saved. Me and all my team saved 16 people from, I would say, minutes to die. And I'm not sure how much are alive now, but for sure I know that I spoke to them, eight of them for sure, that they thanked me that I saved their lives. So I know they're living and they have that their life is back to normal.
Can you tell us a little more what happened with you and Barry?
I'll get to it in 1 minute. I just want to give you to see what we went through. What these, I wouldn't call them animals. I wouldn't call them animals because animals wouldn't do.
So, can you repeat that? Because I don't think my camera got that.
Yes, I said I wouldn't call them animals because animals would never do what they did. Okay, but when we go to a car in the road, and as a 55-year-old person, the father and the grandfather go into a car where the mother, a young lady, she was by the steering wheel sitting in the car. She had about 20 gunshot wounds in her body, and next to her husband, and we start to respect those bodies. That's our job. We respect the bodies. And I wouldn't say the job is to collect the bodies, but our mission is to respect the bodies. So we went out to respect the bodies. When I start to take out that young lady, all of a sudden I hear crying in the car from a small child. I almost fainted because I saw my grandchildren in front of my face. Only 2 hours before I was with my grandchildren, and I heard that crying, and she's asking me, I start to talk, and she's asking me in Hebrew. Her name is Avichail, and she's asking me in Hebrew, Ata mishalanu? Are you friendly? Now think of the 2023 in the city of Sderot. This is what a small girl, she wasn't even 4 years old, has to ask you, and you have to give her an answer. And I told her yes. She asked me for a sign. Ani rotza siman. I want a sign. It just said Shema Yisrael. She came out from, she was hiding for 4 hours. She was in the car with her father and mother. They were bleeding to death. They were dying. They died. And she was over there. I had to take her out, close her eyes, and just give her over to a police officer, take it away. While I was talking, denying the denial in the United Nations, a month and a half ago, I was in the United Nations in New York, talking to them. My family was doing the birthday party for this Avichail, the 4th birthday party that she left over with no family. I just showed it to them on video, live video from my family, from my house, where all my children and grandchildren are having a birthday party for this Avichail that no one left from her family, no father and no mother, for nothing. She did nothing. It was ceasefire, and that was their denials. So I had to go to deny their denials. And we're gonna get afterwards to the Nova Festival, so I'll tell you. But about Kibbutz Be'eri, and so Kibbutz Be'eri, so they came in, and it was Kibbutz Be'eri was one of the kibbutzim, as Kfar Aza and Nir Oz, all these kibbutzim, they were peace activists, and they were having great relationship with the Gazans. They had even shifts when from families that will go and bring in Gazians to treatments. If it's the hospital, if the treatments they had to get in the hospitals, they will bring them food. They will bring them money. They'll make sure that and they gave them a lot of money, and they were like friends. But this all happened October 7th. Everything broke in the face, as they knew that those people that they were on daily basis, they were coming and eating the meal with them. They gave the list for the terrorist exactly who lives in this house and how much people, where's if they have a gun or they don't have a gun. Everything, they knew. They had a list. And even more, one of the houses in Kfar Aza, there was a family that they started, this family, a year ago. The mother, the woman of that family, the mother of that decided to get closer to Judaism. And Shabbat, she wants to have it. She came from a family. We know all these kibutz is 180 degrees from my. They don't, they're more on the left side, left wing of the, and everything. We never had some relationship with them. And that family in Kfar Aza, she decided that a year ago, and then she said for her husband didn't want to follow her. Then she said that she can't be over here for Shabbat because she wants to keep Shabbat, so she will leave every Friday. She left the kibbutz and then came back. It took them like 4 to 5 months when the husband said, okay, he's joining her, and then they left every Shabbat. They left the kibbutz to go and they left the kibbutz for Shabbat because there was no the minimum partnership for the Shabbat they didn't have over there. And so they were in that October 7th was Shabbat, Saturday. They had guests in their house in the kibbutz. They stayed over there because it was Simchat Torah. In Simchat Torah, they said they're gonna have, like, it was supposed to be a festival, a kite festival with the Palestinians, with the Gazians, flying kites. And so they had a lot of guests, and they're gonna say they're gonna have the tefillot, they're gonna the prayers, they're gonna have everything. So they stayed over there. While they were in their house hiding, they listened to the terrorist that just passing the window, and the terrorist that was a friend of that house. No, that house is empty. They leave every Shabbat. They're not over here, so they just skipped that house, and they were saved. The house next, in the right and the left, they were all tortured and killed, and they were hiding in the safe room and listening what that terrorist told for the terrorist that was guiding those terrorists of the Nukhba is telling them this house is empty. They leave every Shabbat. They're not over here. So you just have to understand the guidance that they received.
He wasn't protecting them. He thought that they were.
No,
Right.
yes,
They would normally leave every.
That's right. That's right. So, not protecting them at all. If he would know, then yes. We were here. You can't see the house over here, but I want to tell you, this was my area. This was my area working when we arrived over here. I arrived over here October 8th, 7:30 in the morning. This was my area that
And it still was a war zone. It's still
There's a war zone and fighting, terrorists all over, and the rockets coming in, and it was a war zone. I would say a war zone. They were hiding in the houses, and they came out and with grenades. They tried to kill us. So we came in over here. My team was 74 volunteers. In the 74 volunteers, I had 3 of my children. They're volunteers. One of them is my child, my son, Ellie.
We met him before.
Yeah, that's my son. And I have 2 more children that joins this organization. My wife sent them to watching me, but it ended up that I had to watching them. And so we came in, we received this area. This is, it's called the houses, 500, 600. That's the addresses, 601, 602. So this whole area was my area, and they came in from here. They killed, they took on fire the houses, they burned the houses where they went in. If people were hiding and they couldn't get into the shelter room, it was just putting in flammable, they were burning, and like this the people were choking, and go out and then we'll kill them or capture them. And this is the way they made it out to go back to Gaza and taking hostages. So I took out of the 74, 6 people, 6 volunteers will cover a house, and the first team that goes into the house is an army unit that they will. It's a special force. They will to clear the house from terrorists in order to protect us. We shouldn't have fined. And they had fighting in houses. They went in and they saw terrorists and they were fighting, and they killed them. And then they came out. And the next unit, it's called SAP, Siluk Ptsatzot, to terminate any bombs or booby traps, and this is also to protect us. And then we went into he came out from the SAP and he told us, you have 1 body, you have 2 bodies, whatever you have. I went in to look exactly what team I should bring in, and because I had teams that are more than 10 years experience, more experience, less experience, and you don't want to give for a child that just started and to give him a body that was slaughtered and raped or tortured, and to see that, because the harm that's going to happen afterwards, and we know what happened afterwards. So this is the way we worked. We came in and we cleared that house. Not clearing the house, because for us to clear a house, that means to take the blood, to take all the body pieces. That's our job, that's our mission. And I'm going to ask you a question. By the way, I didn't say what's the definition of Zaka. So there is 2 definitions. The first one, when it was established, is Ziui Korbanot Ason. It's identifying unnatural death. And the second one is, that's very important, that it became now October 7th, we know that it's even more Zekiruv Achim, to bring our brothers together. This is something, because this is a mission that we know we respect everybody, and it doesn't make a difference if he's Jewish or not Jewish, and it doesn't make if he's religious or not religious, and we respect everyone. That's our mission, and because of that we can say that this is the focus of our organization, is to bring our brothers together. That, people get killed, there's blood going out of the body, but when I get into that house and I'm dressed with a white suit with special boots, there was a lake of blood. Not even a puddle, it was like the whole thing was blood. I said, oh man, what? It's not one body over here for sure. So I just look around and I see on one side of the living room, it's a nice house, beautiful house. Living room, there's father and mother, hands tied to the back. They were heads down, and they were shot in the back, both of them. The other side of the room, there's two children with the same thing. And I said to myself, where's this blood coming from? You know, somebody's being shot, comes out blood stops. You know that over here something different. So I just go and I pick up, I start the father, I pick them up. I see half of his face is like they took out an eye. They just grabbed out an eye of him. I pick up the mother. I see she was bleeding from her chest. She just cut off a breast. The children, fingers cut off. The girl was the foot. They were torturing this family. I said to myself, he's right, I can't do it. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. I have a mission in my life, I can't do it. I just go out to my team is outside. And I told them, listen guys, in this house we'll have to have a double team. We'll have to have 12 people, not 6. But I can't do it. You'll have to manage yourself. It's impossible for me to do it. The minute I told them that, I saw in their eyes and looking at me, if Yossi can do it, who will do it? I told them, I promise you, you brave guys, you will be able to do it, and I will not be angry. It's a drone. Yeah, over there, right over there.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Oh, there. These are birds.
Angry, and I will understand if some of you will tell me the same thing. I thought that 2 or 3 of my volunteers will come out and tell me they can't do it. It took only 2 minutes when I see all 12 of them coming out from that house, the face down, and telling me, Yossi, no, you can't do it. I told them it's impossible that everybody should be negative. One has to be positive. If there's no one positive over here, I'll be the positive guy. I got them in, and I told them, now we're going in. I went in, I asked them, the first thing, let's sit down in the blood, and we're gonna sing a song. We sang, V'hi sha'amda lavotenu, we sing that every Passover, that in every generation we have enemies on us to get us killed, but God in heaven saves us. Then we went into Ani Ma'amin, that we believe. Went into some songs. I got up, I took out my knife, I cut the plastic handcuffs that those victims were tied, and I asked my volunteers, let's hold their hands, let's make a promise. We promised we will not leave this place and all the other places without respecting every one of those victims and bringing them to proper burial. This is our mission, and we're gonna do it. We made that promise. Because of that promise, we're still here and doing the work, because we know now, while I'm talking to you right now, there is 21 unidentified victims. They were burned in the cars, most of them with 4,000 degrees fire. That's what they did to take our dignity. We had to vacuum clean all the ashes. I flew down to Pennsylvania. I got in a company. They belong to the University of Pennsylvania. To bring them in, they're the only company in the world that can do DNA from ashes. And this is what they're doing. The last 3 weeks, they identified 8. On this corner, I just want to, and I'll show you the pictures. I'm in New York, getting a phone call from the special army that's called Itur Nedarim, to search for people. I get a picture, and they knew this was my place that I was working, and to identify this place. I saw the place. I saw the motorcycles. They were over here with motorcycles. The terrorists, and I saw the place, and I saw, yes, sure, it's in kibutz Be'eri. Could you tell us what happened over here? There was about 12 terrorists over here. That the helicopter, when they came, they shot them, and then a tank came in. Some of them were with a tank, and I asked them, we are looking for a body from a citizen from Be'eri. We know that he was around this area. I told him, yes, I'll tell you the story. I was here and I saw the bodies. We collect those bodies. And we knew that a body of a terrorist gets a different marking than a civilian. We put X's, but over here was a body that I had an argument with one of the army officials that was with us, that this is not a terrorist. He was, a tank ran him over, so he was missing a lot of body pieces. But I saw from his t-shirt that he's not a terrorist. And I told him, so I marked that bag with the X's, but I took out a different color magic marker and I marked it with question marks, 3 question marks. I wrote the date, the time that we picked them up. This is the time. So they went where we took all the bodies of the terrorists. This is Teiman in the south, next to Beersheba, where they went over there, and they looked for the bag. They found that bag. Now they know that he was taken with the terrorists, but they're looking for the body. They were looking right over here. Over here they were digging and looking for the body, for body parts. And I told them that where I found the body was right over here. So we came back. I landed Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. I landed in Israel. Didn't go home. I just came over here the first thing and start digging and looking for some parts to try to identify. After 2.5 hours of digging, we found part of his foot. Was taken in. Monday I came back to continue to work and to look for more, because they had the cameras that he and his wife was taken from inside. By 3 p.m. they had that he's tied to the back, and a couple of the Hamas terrorists taken into custody and then they killed his wife because she couldn't walk. So they killed the wife, and then by 4 p.m. they lost him in the cameras. They couldn't find him, so they knew they were here. He was someplace over here. Monday morning, while I was here working and looking, I received a phone call. Yes, we have a positive identity for that person that was over here. And I have all the pictures. The joy and happiness that we had, me and my team, while doing it, this gives us the difference. I just want to give you the difference between us, not only us, and you, with this Hamas terrorist. We know this Hamas terrorist, this 19-year-old Hamas terrorist, his father and mother on October 7th, while taking a phone from a woman that he just killed, and calling up, I killed now 10 Jews with my hands. And they encouraging him, no, it's not enough, go ahead and do it more. For us, our joy and happiness is when we could identify a body. We can respect their families. That's the difference. And you just have to thank that you're on this side of of the humanity and not on the other side. And this makes us our partnership because we know you're the same, we're all the same, and that makes us the difference with the Hamas terrorists. So when you look at this place and that's going on, and by the way, we go into that house with that family and we started to work. My volunteers, it's the first time in 33 years I get a request like that. My volunteers come to me, Yossi, we need something that you should give us. What do you want? We want to take home the suit that it's sucked with the blood. We want to take it home. Asking them, why do you want to take it home? We want to take it when we die. It should be buried with us. There should be a witness with God what we did. I had to take out something of my mind for the first second not to allow them to do that, because it's not allowed, because we know the blood has to be. The blood is the main part of our body. A person can live without a hand, can live without a foot, but it cannot live without the blood. The blood, and it says, Ki hadam hu nefesh. The blood is the soil, and we don't know the drop of blood. So therefore, we clean the blood, we take it, and it's being buried together with the victims. And I told them, you want to be a witness only for this family? We want to be a witness with the 1,200 our holy brothers and sisters that were killed. This is what we want to be the witness. I will tell you, they bought my crab, and yes, they left it, and now we're gonna be witness for 1,200 and more. Then a volunteer comes to me and he showed me, Yossi, did you look at the table? The table, those terrorists were eating the meal of this family while torturing this family. And now we started a debate between us. Did the father and mother see what happened to the children? In the evening, while we were sitting in the grass and talking to each other and trying to get out, you have to get out a little bit. I saw all my volunteers, they just standing. I asked them, what did he see? What did he feel today? And they're not talking because they were afraid to talk. I shouldn't send them home or some to an institution that they're crazy. So I said to them, I'll start. I would say we had a debate if they saw, if we know that the father and mother saw what happened to the children. I said yes, they saw. How do you know? Those bodies were talking to us. Then all of them got up and said the same thing to us. We feel the bodies were talking to us. They gave us the message to give you. And then we go out and we have to look again to our children in the eyes, and we have to hug the children, that we can't do it. For 8 weeks I couldn't look at my grandchildren, my children in the eyes. We had no Hanukkah party in our families. Volunteers were sleeping in the car, didn't want to go up at home, or sleeping in a bench because they can't hug them. They can't look at the children, and they can't do anything. Then we go on. When I enter a house, the house is right over here, next to the house of Pessi. There was a house in Be'eri, the house of Pessi, where they had 15 hostages, and they were all 14 were killed. One lady escaped, but they were all and they were burned. We found, after sifting, and I have the video, bringing in a machine, a machine that sifts rice. We had to sift over here all the ashes. We found a bone like that could identify a 12-year-old girl. That's the only bone that was up. But next to her house, when I go in over there, and I see in the front of the house a pile of blood, and I see a lady on her stomach, I just turned her over and I said to myself, where's the blood coming from? There's too much blood. Ari, I can't talk now. And I just see this woman was 9 months pregnant. The baby was mature and the baby was stabbed to the head. The knife is right next over here. And I can show it. It was denied. When I got up and I showed them the video, what I took, the pictures, what I do, now I stopped from that. And that baby was stabbed. And again, we had a debate. Should we use one body bag or 2 body bags? Because it's 2 bodies. I had to do a vote between my 10 guys and do a vote. 7 of them said, no, we're gonna use only 1 body. We're not the people that, we cannot, we cannot get them apart. This is our job. We had them, they died together. And if the mother saw that, yes, the mother saw that she was shot in the back after that was done with that baby and with that family. And a 7-year-old child is fighting for his life, and unfortunately he died while he was shot in his shelter room in that same house. So that's what we went through. That's what we saw, and that's what we go home. And when I say they killed 1,200 people, it's not true. They killed much more. They killed us. It's gonna take us years to get out. Unfortunately, the last month we lost 2 of our volunteers by not getting up in the morning, age 43 and age 45. The heart couldn't take it anymore. They were jobless. They couldn't go back to the job, so they had a hard time in the house. And when I received 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Friday 3 o'clock in the afternoon, from a neighbor of a volunteer that he has six kids, and telling me, you know, my neighbor that's your volunteer doesn't have any food for Shabbat, his house is empty. I just load up my car from Ashdod going to Ashkelon and bringing the food for that family. And the next thing what I have to do is to try to get him on the foot. So we come out and I give them a car to go shop and to go bring the grocery to the supermarket, and that's what we have to give them. So we still in it, and our people are going through. And forget about the hostages and the families that, you know, you can't judge them, you can't, because we know what's going on with them. We know what they did over here and how they raped and how they tortured the people. I'm sure that this is happening over there too. And so our heart is going out. And I want to tell you one thing. We wouldn't be able to do that, and we can't do that, as I said in the beginning, without your partnership. When you come and you give us a part and you take a part of our hard working and even giving a smile, that gives us courage and strength to go further. And we know we're not finished. We know we're waiting for the north. That it's a matter of time. It's not if it's gonna be. It's a matter of time when we're gonna get hit by missiles, and we know the Hezbollah is not Hamas. This is a joke. What's gonna be over there, and we have to be ready, and we have to be prepared, because it's not saving. It's not giving the respect for our people. It's respect for the world, and we stand over here for the world. This is yes, we received it. We have it always, and we are in the front line of the world. Just now, as we know, the ISIS were condemned by the world, and their plans was to invade the entire world. That was the plan. Hamas is even worse. And I want to tell you, the second week of the war, while I was in Kfar Aza, working, hard working, crying, I receive a phone call from a customer. I have a business. He calls me up. My father is 92 years old. He lives in Ramat Gan next to Tel Aviv. He wants to meet you. He saw your interviews. He wants to meet you. He's a Holocaust survivor. He used to work with Dr. Mengele by testing those the people in the Holocaust. He wants to meet you. I took my car in the evening and I drove to Ramat Gan. I met this guy. I showed him pictures. I showed him I spoke to him. I told him what we saw. He started crying like a baby. He said, no, this wasn't in the Holocaust even. When I told him, when I showed him that we picked up a piece, a black piece that we didn't know, we knew it's a body, but unfortunately it was two bodies. Mother hugging her baby, and she was tied and she was burned alive. They were burned alive. Only by the MRI they would see two spines. That gave us that it's two bodies, and we didn't even know that wasn't in the Holocaust. So what we saw over here and what we see over here is to give the message of the world. Yes, we saw the Holocaust, the 2023 Holocaust. Even more than that, we have to witness that, and we have to go out with the message. And it's not the reason you came. It's not just to have a visit, because you can go to Puerto Rico, it's even nicer, and you can go to Texas. I was in Texas, so in Texas is nice. It's even nice. It's not that warm right now, but it's yes, I had a good time in Texas, but you came over here to witness and to give the message to your children. And one thing you should know, when you go home, please, I want to bless you and I want to ask you, when you go home, take your children, hug them, kiss them, love them. It's not something understandable by yourself that you can do that. For me, last week Thursday, I was called in by family Sharabi that the daughter and two granddaughters was in this place, was murdered and tortured. I should tell them exactly what happened to them. They wanted to know, and I have to lie to them. I don't want to show them. They came up with pictures that they received from someplace, not from us, but they received from the army or someplace. They want to know exactly what happened to the loved ones, and I had to lie, and they're telling me in the face that I'm lying, because I told them yes, they were only shot and they were only that, and the breast wasn't taken off, and it wasn't stuck in the bodies. All kind of materials that they stuck into the bodies that I know of it. That night I was sleeping in Be'eri on the grass. It was raining. I didn't want to go home. 3 o'clock in the morning, when my wife called in for our people to look for her husband, they found me over here. I didn't want to go home. I went home. But this is something that's gonna follow us, and it's gonna follow our entire nation. So when you go home, please, whoever has kids and who doesn't have kids should have kids eventually, because this is our mission. We all want to go home and have our family and look at our children and hug our children.
Thank you.
Can I say a Kaddish here now?
Yes.
So we have a minion here.